Alright, Shalom. All praise to Yahweh Shemi Shai. Double honor to the apostles of GMS. My name is Amnawa Allah, coming at you another video. And I was just thinking, because earlier this week, I had like a bunch of scriptures that I wanted to get into. And for some reason, I have no idea what the reason was. It's like my phone just closed out all of those tabs that I had open for the scriptures that I was going to go into. I don't even remember what the show was about, but through the spirit of Yahweh Shemi Shai, it'll come back to me, Lord willing. And I was just sitting in the car just now. I was like, you know what? Why not just do another lesson? So I just put these scriptures together real quick. Spirit came to me. So I said, matter of fact, Spirit had me just type in Luke 12 chapter. And I just scrolled to it and I seen something that caught my spirit. So I said, why not? So this is the book of Luke chapter 12 verse 8. It says, also, I say unto you, whosoever shall confess me before men, him shall the Son of Man confess before the angels of the Most High. Now look at the word confess. Okay? First, let's see if both words confess are different in the Greek. Okay? Nope, same thing. Let's see what this word confess means.
Strong's G 3670.
Homologeo. Okay? You see the word here, it says when you go to the Strong's definitions, homologeo says to assent, i.e. covenant, acknowledge, confess, profess, confession is made, give thanks, promise. Let's go to right there. Right here. Show outline of biblical usage. To say the same thing as another. To agree with, assent. So part of confessing Yahweh Shai before men is saying the same thing as another. Agreeing with. Or saying the same thing as who? Or agreeing with who? With Yahweh Shai. Because what did Yahweh Shai say in the book of get right here what the scripture say? In the book of Psalm the 40th chapter, in the 6th verse. Scripture has said what? So I can find it. 1 second. Give me 1 second. Psalms 40 and 7. I'm thinking of Psalms 40 and 6. I was right there. Psalms 40 and 7. Alright? Go here real quick. It says, this right here is the Psalm of David. Psalms 40 and 7, it says what? Then said I, lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me. So this is David speaking in the spirit, referencing Yahweh Shai. Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me. So what's written in the book is written of Yahweh Shai. So when you go to that word confess, it's the same thing in Hebrews 10 and 7. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do that will of power. So when it says, I come in the volume of the book, when it says that in Psalm 40th chapter and 7th verse, David is speaking in the spirit, referencing Yahweh Shai. Because what's written in the book or the Bible, in the whole volume of the book, the Old Testament and New Testament, is written of Yahweh Shai. So when you go to that word confess in the Greek, in the book of Luke chapter 12 verse 8, homologeo, it tells you to say the same thing as another. But saying the same thing as Yahweh Shai is saying the things that are written in this book. So it says, i.e. to agree with, assent, to concede, not to refuse, to promise, not to deny, to confess, declare, to confess, i.e. to admit or declare oneself guilty of what one is accused of. So part of confessing Yahweh Shai is to admit or declare oneself guilty of what one is accused of. And one thing is what? That we all committed sin. That's another thing that we're confessing. And by us confessing that we're guilty of sin, we are confessing that we need a cloak for our sins, which is Yahweh Shai. Therefore, confessing that we have to have faith in Yahweh Shai to forgive of the sins that we committed. To profess, to declare openly. That's another thing about confessing Yahweh Shai, is to declare openly, to speak out freely. We declare Yahweh Shai openly when we go out there and teach. We're out there speaking freely, doing shows, Alright, to profess oneself the worshipper of one, to pray, celebrate. So we're professing ourselves the worshippers of Yahweh Shah. Yes, we do worship Yahweh Shah. The word worship just means to show worth, or to show that one is worthy. And Yahweh Shah, we show that Yahweh Shah is one who's worthy to be praised while it's going out there and teaching. Alright? To praise, celebrate. So read that again. It says, Luke 12:8. Also I say unto you, whosoever shall confess me before men, him shall the Son of Man also confess before the angels of the Most High. So when we confess Yahweh Shah before men, when we're speaking openly, speaking freely of Yahweh Shah before men, before the people out here in this world, if we confess Yahweh Shah before men, then Yahweh Shah is going to confess us before the angels of the Most High. Okay? So that what? That we be delivered. Because Yahweh Shah confesses us before the angels of the Most High. What Yahweh Shah is doing is what? Yahweh Shah is praying for us. He's speaking to the Most High, Yahweh, on our behalf. He's our lawyer. He's speaking to the good deeds that we're doing on this earth for His name's sake. So that when Yahweh Shah comes back with the angels, we be delivered. Verse 9. But he that denieth me before men shall be denied before the angels of the Most High. Now let's go there. Deny. Okay? Two different words for denieth and deny. So who did deny Yahweh Shah?
Strong's G 720. Arneamai. Arneamai.
Arneomai. Contradict, to contradict, disavow, reject, abnegate, deny, refuse. To deny someone. To deny oneself, disregard his own interests, or to prove false to himself. Act entirely unlike himself, to deny, abnegate, abjure, not to accept, to reject, to refuse something offered. So denying Yahweh Shah is to not accept Yahweh Shah. It's to reject Yahweh Shah. And rejecting Yahweh Shah is rejecting the teachings of Yahweh Shah. But rejecting Yahweh Shah is also rejecting the teachers of Yahweh Shah. Not only the teachings of Yahweh Shah, but the teachings of Yahweh Shah. Because the scriptures tell you, speaks about he that despises you despises not you, but despises the Most High. Why? Because the Most High sent us to refuse something offered. What's being offered is the truth. This is what we're giving you. We're giving you the truth. This is what we're offering. But people are denying it. Okay? If you deny this, by doing so, you deny Yahweh Shah. And if you deny Yahweh Shah is going to deny you. Go ahead.
Strong's G 533. Aparneamai. Aparneamai.
Aparneomai. To deny utterly, to disown, abstain, deny, to affirm that one has no acquaintance or connection with someone. So when Yahweh Shah denies you before angels of the Most High, Yahweh Shah is denying that he has no acquaintance with you. To be acquainted with someone means to be familiar with them. To affirm that one has no acquaintance or connection with someone. I have no connection or no acquaintance with you. So that's what Yahweh Shah is saying before the Heavenly Father. I do not know this man. I have no acquaintance with him. I have no connection with him. Why does he have no acquaintance? It says, one suffering from disease, to make well, heal, restore to health, to preserve one who was in danger of destruction, to save or rescue, to save in the technical biblical sense, negatively, to deliver from the penalties of the messianic judgment, which is what? Destruction. To save, which is those that don't believe in Yahweh Shah, they're going to die. That's what Yahweh Shah said what? Scripture tell you from the Most High so loved the world that it gives only begotten Son. Those who believe in him should not perish but everlasting life. But if you don't believe in him, you are going to perish, and you won't have everlasting life. To save from the evils which obstruct the reception of the messianic deliverance. And those evils are the time of Jacob's trouble. Where the time of Jacob's trouble, part of that is what? The hour of temptation. Which is what? The hour of Aditya, which is the mark of the beast. And I get this last. Can I read the whole thing? That's good on that. I read this last verse. It says, Revelation 14:12. Here is the patience of the saints. Hail are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith of Yahweh Shah. You know? Should I go to that word patience? Look at that word patience. See what that means.
Strong's G 5281. Hupamane. Hupamane.
Upamane. Cheerful or hopeful, endurance, constancy, enduring, patience, patient continuance, waiting. It says steadfastness, constancy, endurance. In the New Testament, the characteristic of a man who is not swerved from his deliberate purpose and his loyalty to faith and piety by even the greatest trials and sufferings. So that's what it means to have patience. That's deep right there. A characteristic of a man who is not swerved from his deliberate purpose, which is what? This truth, this knowledge. That's having patience. The patience is the characteristic of a man that has not swerved from his deliberate purpose and his loyalty to faith and piety to even the greatest trials and sufferings. So the greatest trials and sufferings, he still never swerved from his deliberate purpose and his loyalty to faith and piety. Patiently, because he stayed on the track, no matter what it was he went through. He kept faith in Yahushua. He endured patiently and steadfastly. A patient, steadfast, waiting for, a patient, enduring, sustaining perseverance. And it says, here is the patience of the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith of Yahushua. I'm gonna go to that word faith and I'm gonna end it there. Let's see what that word faith means. Okay, it says I'm going to go ahead and Greek.
Strong's G 4102. Pistis. Pistis.
Pistis. It says a lot here. Credence, moral conviction. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Okay. I'll read this part though, especially the reliance upon Yahushua for salvation. And you go down here, it says conviction of the truth of anything, belief. In the New Testament, of a conviction or belief respecting man's relationship to the Most High and divine things, generally with the included idea of trust and holy fervor born of faith and joined with it. Okay? Right here, go down here. It says a strong and welcome conviction or belief that Yahushua is the Messiah, through whom we obtain eternal salvation in the kingdom of the Most High. And it says the belief with the predominant idea of trust or confidence, whether in the Most High or in Yahushua, spring up from faith in the same. Fidelity, faithfulness, the character of one who can be relied on. Or in other words, what it says in the book of Hebrews, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We have faith in Yahushua, and He's the Son of the Most High, that we can't physically see Him. Okay, but that's the evidence of things not seen, your faith. You can't see it, but you have faith in it. You have faith that it's there. You have faith that it exists. So then I'm going to close. I'm going to say, oh, praise Yahweh Shema Shah. Double lines to the Apostle GMS. Alright. Yahweh Shema Shah. Bashem Makakodash. I'll be worth something. Shalom.